Hi everyone! Today I'm sewing and sharing a fun and feminine dress. This pattern includes a collar, darts, and an invisible side zipper. Pretty little details to make it classic and flattering. This Rafaela dress pattern is free online at fabricstore.com. You can download it finding the link below, and we can sew it together today. Let's get started. You will need 2 front bodice pieces. Don't forget to transfer all your markings. 1 back piece cut on the fold, 2 cuffs, 2 front facings with 2 interfacings, 2 collar pieces, 1 back facing and interfacing cut on the fold, 1 16-inch invisible zipper, 5 coordinating buttons, 1 front skirt cut on the fold, and 1 back skirt cut on the fold. Apply your interfacings to the wrong sides of your facings. Although the pattern doesn't call for it, I also like to apply interfacing to one side of my collar, so I'm going to do that now. Beginning with our front bodice pieces, let's prepare our darts. I marked my darts with tracing paper and a tracing wheel, so now I can fold them in half and pin, matching the dart legs on opposite sides. Now take them to your machine and sew from the bottom to the point, leaving tails at the point so that you can tie it into knots. Do the exact same process for your 2 back darts. Place your front and back bodices right sides together, pin your shoulder seams, and sew with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Then you can serge both seams and press them toward the back. Place your front facings together with your back facing and sew the shoulder seams with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Then take them to your iron and press them open. Finish the outer edges of your facings with a serger. Place your collar pieces right sides together and pin along the side and top edges. Sew at a 3/8 seam allowance. Remember, we're just sewing the side and top edges. Leave this bottom open. Now trim your corners and edges to about 1/4 inch. Turn it inside out and give it a good press. Now we're going to attach the collar to the main bodice, sandwiching it between the bodice and the facings. Place your collar with your bodice right sides together, matching the center backs. Now match your facing with your collar right sides together, matching center backs. Continue pinning your collar, your bodice, and the facings all together to the end of the collar and then down the center fronts. Sew all the way around your facing with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Now that our facing is attached, clip your corners and clip into all the curves along the neckline. Now turn your facing to the inside of the garment and press. Serge the 4 raw edges of your side seams. Pin and sew your right side seams together at a 3/8 seam allowance. Leave your left seams open for now. Sew your buttonholes to the right front bodice piece according to the markings on your pattern piece. Temporarily overlap your right bodice piece over your left bodice piece by 1 inch. Pin in place. Use this placement to mark where your buttons are going to go. And attach your buttons to the left bodice piece. Set your bodice aside for now. Grab your front and back skirt pieces and serge all 4 side seams of the skirt. Now that we've serged each side seam separately, place your back skirt piece on top of your front skirt piece and pin the right side only. Sew the right side seam of your skirt at a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Now that our front and back skirts are sewn together on the right side seam, we're going to gather the top of our skirt to fit the bodice. Do this by sewing a row of basting stitches from one side of the front to the other, pulling your gathers to fit, and we'll attach it to the bodice piece. I've gone ahead and basted the top of my skirt with the longest stitch on my machine, and now I'm ready to gather the threads. Now let's attach the bodice to the skirt. Grab your bodice that should still be buttoned up, it's going to stay this way as we attach it, and place your bodice right sides together with your skirt, matching the center seam that's sewn. Continue pinning your bodice to your skirt, adjusting the gathers to fit. Now sew all the way across with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. And serge. To prepare for installing our invisible zipper, place your left front bodice pieces together and pin from the underarm seam to the zipper notch marked on your pattern. And then we're going to sew from the seam to the zipper marking with a 3/8 inch seam allowance, backstitching at both ends. The teeth of your invisible zipper are inherently coiled inward, so use a low setting on your iron to make them lie more flat. Double check that the width of your zipper tape is 3/8 inch from the outside to the teeth. This works perfectly for our seam allowance. Open up your zipper. Place both sides of your zipper tape right sides together along the left side seams. And pin. Now we're going to sew both sides of the zipper close to the teeth, all the way to the notch that's marked on your pattern piece. I am using a regular zipper foot to sew my zipper. You could also use an invisible zipper foot. Just sew close to the teeth. The zipper is installed, so let's continue sewing the seam from the notch to the bottom of the skirt. Sew with a 3/8 seam allowance. Switch back to your regular presser foot. I pressed up my bottom hems, so now I'll sew all the way around close to the fold. The last step is our sleeve bands. So fold your sleeve bands in half, right sides together, and pin the short edges. Sew both short edges with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Now fold your cuffs wrong sides together and attach them to your bodice right sides together. Match the underarm seams. Sew all the way around your armhole with a 3/8 inch seam allowance and serge. Thank you so much for watching this sew along. I look forward to seeing you again in the next video, but until then, check out my other sew along videos for other great additions to your wardrobe. See you next time.